Hey, good morning, guys. What's up? We're going to be playing some blitz and rapid chess here with time control between 5 plus 3 and 7 plus 3, which is the usual thing for our weekday streams in the mornings. Uninstall my Office today. You mean like Microsoft Office? Or your physical office where you store all your vodka? We have lots of subscribers here in the morning. Acerbate. Who is that? I can't read the light green. That's me. I'm an idiot. All right. I thought I'm some new subscriber because I couldn't read my own name. And Juicebox Wizard, Gladys Troll. What's wrong with my screen? I forgot to bring up the screen. All right. There. We've got Lee Chess. I'm a little disorganized. I don't know why. We've got Lee Chess. I had a message here from somebody. All right, nothing important. So, guys, we are off a couple minutes late, but it's cool. I'm going to be playing the challenges, as I mentioned. I've got to remember to play unusual openings. Whenever I start one of these Wednesday streams, I start playing and then I get distracted. Especially when I play, like, Gladys Troll the first game. And it's Chess 960. I'm not going to forbid him from playing Chess 960 since he's a subscriber now. I used to like ban him from playing Chess 960 because he wasn't a subscriber, but now we have to let him play Chess 960 on Wednesdays, I think. Anyway, I have a good idea for a new opening I was going to play if I get a chance to play it with black. Kind of something weird that I noticed someone playing that looks interesting I never considered before for black. But anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. This feels like normal chess with the kings, with the rooks on the normal squares, the knights on the normal squares, and the bishop on the normal squares. Just the three, queen, king, and bishop, white square bishop, are on the wrong squares. This is really weird. My inclination is to play knight f6 irregardless. I think that's probably the best move. I mean, d5 might be a little risky with the king on d8, so this looks absolutely best. We could try to play a King's Indian type of setup. I think the bishop on e8 needs to come out through d7, so it's either a Queen's Gambit or a d6 type of formation, g6, d6. Kind of a it's a King's Indian with a wardrobe malfunction or something. I don't know. But let's keep an open mind here. The d7b is a little bit of a problem. Ananas just subscribed with Twitch Prime. Ananas, I had mentioned you, I don't know, in the last week or so because we had these players that were all fairly strong. You know, Ayeste, he's a little low rated than you, and Aldisto, and Ananas. And I know Ananas wasn't your first account, but it was just funny because we had three, you know, expert strength players, what we say in U.S. Chess Federation, expert. Or candidate master, and they're all starting with A, and like sometimes I would get them confused, and I was thinking about you, you know, and kind of, you're a relatively strong player who's been tough for me to play against. Also, you play kind of mainline openings, which is something that I really yearn for, because a lot of people here on Lee Chess just don't really subscribe to opening theory, you know, and so it's hard for me to really learn from my opening, improve my openings playing here. There's a little problem with this King's Indian, this bishop d7 theory, trying to play the King's Indian, because he's got e5. How much of a problem is e5? I guess I can put my knight on g4, but the problem is the bishop's on e1 protecting f2. You know, I'm not sure how strong knight g4 really is. Bishop d7. Bishop d7, e5, and then I have an issue. We can always retreat the knight back to d7, but how am I going to complete my development if that's the case? So we might have to do something a bit unusual here, I think. Knight c6. But thanks for the subscription. Spinal Tap, what's up? Good to have an international master in the group here. Spinal Tap Chess. I think I ran into one of your games on the Opening Explorer the other day. Tom Bartel. Now I can't remember what it was. I think I want to say we're black, but I can't remember now. All right. It wasn't a Caro Kann. That was the thing that surprised me. It was a Sicilian. I think you were playing a Sicilian. It was an old game. It was an old game from like 10 years ago. So Troll just goes ahead and calls my bluff here with d5. So we can play, you know, knight b4, but that's kind of fishy. Although it's not that bad. I'd rather play either knight e5 or knight b8. And knight b8 is really... It's more my style, because I've played the Nimzowitsch defense to some extent. So we have a kind of deformed King's Indian. Maybe it's not that bad, but we still didn't resolve the bishop problem. Of course, ultimately, white has to complete the development. Probably bishop e2 and bishop d2, obviously. It's almost like normal chess, but not. So, Mr. Bartel, I guess it was a Sicilian I saw you had played. We only played twice, but I don't even remember the second game. Was I black in both games? I was black in one. I don't remember the other one. Okay, but anyway, I've got to remember to play weird openings today. I have a new opening for black to try out that I've never played before. I was also thinking that I never play the French defense. And obviously, French defense is not a weird opening. But I have something related. I got to get my king to the center, to the king side center. Yeah. Bishop d7, e5 is possible for white. I don't know that there's anything I can really do about it, though. You know, I probably have to just take and play that position. How else am I going to get my pieces developed? I can play knight a6 here. But the longer I wait, the more problems I think I'm going to have. Oh, I know. I was thinking e5. e5. You're already playing well, Troll. So I don't really buy that. Maybe knight fd7 anyway, like... I'm getting so congested there. Bishop d7 and just castle. Knight a6. Knight fd7 looks really over the top. So I was thinking e5, but he can go takes en passant, and then maybe I could take with the queen. It looks like a very much slightly better position for white, but would really destroy my position structurally. I'm going to go here. Bananas, thanks for subbing. Where's our moderator? I think he's going to take some days off in these morning streams. Soltigo he's recovering from his operation, so I think he's not always going to be here for the morning streams. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Bishop d2. I could possibly play knight to g4. I can also play bishop g4, which I kind of like, because I'm so congested here. I felt that Troll should definitely think about playing e5 there, but on the, on the plus side, I could take and play bishop f5, trying to trade pieces. He could refuse. Maybe just like e5 takes, knight takes, bishop f5, bishop e2, avoiding exchanges. And then his knight is unprotected on e5. But my king is still in the center. I don't know if I can do any tactics. But e5 isn't necessarily that great. I think a better solution for white might be just playing h3. Obviously, it's like a little bit time consuming, but his setup is relatively similar to something like Makaganov King's Indian. h3 base variation. The queen on c1 might actually be useful, supporting attacking plans with with bishop h6. So I just noticed there's a good open tournament in Portugal. I never had heard of previously. A lot of players out there. Not really like top players. I saw some names, but historically I never remember any strong tournaments in Portugal. And I thought that was interesting. What's going on now? One of my friends from the Hungarian players on Lichess, Nagy Gabor, I noticed in the list. Jabava. Lots of players from all different countries. It's good to know about new, kind of strong open tournaments. Master playing on Lichess. Yeah. No, they're not going to buy me, man. And I'm cheap. Bishop g4. It's just bishop h6. Okay. We have a tactic here. Bishop takes f3 followed by queen h3. Bishop takes g7. Queen takes f3 check. Winning a pawn, but losing the game. Queen takes f3 check. King d2. And it's just the end of the road for me there. He has all sorts of inner positions. So I can't do that. It's either take on h6 or just castle. I think I like castles here. I don't know. It's my bad bishop, kind of. If I play e5, it usually becomes a bad bishop. If you exchange the bishops on g7, I'm like a European, Hungarian speaker. Change? They're like trying to offer you to change money. If you change on g7, then I'll put my pawns on dark squares and claim it was a bad bishop. If you don't exchange, something's going to hit the fan here. I don't know. I'm just happy to get out of the opening, and develop my pieces. My plan to play the King's Indian, I think, is probably a little awkward. Oftentimes I try to force my normal chess openings on these Lichess positions, on Lichess, Chess 960. I'm trying to play the Sicilian defense all the time, trying to play now the King's Indian. I think you should really just adapt to the starting position and create, new stuff. Then try to look at the opening as if it was normal chess. Though this position was really very similar to normal chess. Now the plan would be to try to create a dark square blockade. Easier said than done. It's a good thing his bishop isn't on f1 coming out here. Could be troublesome. Actually, that's a plan he could try to execute, although it's very time consuming. h4, bishop f1, bishop h3. I'll just evacuate. I don't think my queen has much relevance on c8 anymore, except for the fact that I'm keeping him tied down to h3. I'd rather just move it to a dark square. White has a space advantage. It looks like a Zamish King's Indian. Castling queenside is obviously totally appropriate here. Would I play you? I'll play everybody, but they have to challenge me here on Lichess. My handle on Lichess, as you can see, is Sparkle Horse. As of now, I only have 4 challenges, so, you know, Sir K. Robin of Hood, if you want to challenge me, you got, you know, the chance to get in the challenge list and probably play a game in the next 45 minutes or so. I don't like commercial chess sites. You know, I used to play on Internet Chess Club for a long time, and that was commercial in the sense that it's owned by private people, you know, and it's for their financial benefit. Sometimes I played on free internet chess server, but their site wasn't that good. And I mean, Lichess is just like a free internet chess server, but it's just awesome, you know. So now that there's Lichess, I wouldn't want to play anywhere else. Basically, I don't want to support, you know, people running like chess.com or ICC or chess. What am I trying to say? The other site, Play Chess, which is a German-run chess-based site. Chess24 is kind of commercial too, I guess. All right, I don't know what you're up to with Queen E3. You're just going to castle, right? Good move. But I think the site itself should be fundamentally free. I love the fact that there's no advertising on Lichess. That's so cheap. Now I decided not to trade bishops, and he's going to play bishop g5. It is his good bishop, so this is time consuming, but I'm saying that too often. Blockade. Once I had a game with Grandmaster Vadim Milov where I was white in a King's Indian, or Pirtz, I think, and I ended up like putting my bishop on h6, and he had a pawn on e5, bishop on g7. It was like a beginner move, you know, and I sat there and I was so angry with myself. I just didn't know what to do, and so I did this like beginner exchange of dark squared bishop on h6 where he has a fixed, you know, pawn on e5. And immediately I was just thinking, like, what an idiot I am, you know. This is such a bad plan, and I'm doing it anyway. The problem is if he plays b4, I mean, he is kind of opening his king a little bit there. Now he's threatening b4, spatially gaining. I could sack a pawn with knight f4 at any point. And have really good justification for that. But I'm more concerned about what would happen with my h4, h5 situation. The knight is blocking that advance. e4 would open the king side and be a little risky, I think. I'm just going to stall. I don't have a plan. My position is basically a blockade. You know, I don't know that I can actually win. Though this is a really dubious move by white. Bishop takes c3 is tempting, but probably better to pass on that. Now I'm threatening to win a pawn, and we have f5. This is a stupid move. But maybe not. Maybe not. I have a lot of moves. I'm better here, but it's not that easy to win. I wasn't sure what the best move was here. If I trade queens, I don't think it's so clear. I didn't know how I was going to protect this pawn, but I guess it is fairly clear. I'm up a clear pawn. Just that it's very awkward protecting c7. How am I going to protect that? I just didn't... I didn't know. That's one continuation. Let's see the opening, though. This has never been played before. Majority of players play d5 here. This is of Lichess players. Does this Chess Medium have an app? We have d5, the preferred move. There's only like 10 games here. The majority of players played e6. I'm the first one who tried to play a kind of King's Indian with d6. We have a couple g6s. And then what happened? Knight c3. This would transpose. But nobody played my d6. Let's see if we can still get a transposition here. e4, d6. Yep. Now f4 is probably a really strong move here, come to think of it. You've got a monster 4 pawns attack with me congested with that bishop on e8 troll. That is really powerful. So I think the King's Indian approach basically can be refuted by this 4 pawns attack where I can't castle. Yeah, I was kind of optimistic here. So guys, it's Weird Wednesday. I'm going to play Unusual Openings. Take the pawn with the knight in the final position was suggested. Yeah, I mean, that's a sort of playable move, I guess. I'm not threatening anything. I guess I was sitting there for a long time looking for something better, you know. But my plan with bishop e5 in the actual game was to play c6, try to kick him off of b5, because that knight is sort of pissing me off. But it's probably not quite as strong as other continuations. Yeah, I mean, taking the pawn, apparently this is the strongest. Trying to open up the long diagonal. If we play a3, we can just, like, crush the long diagonal. But Troll just blundered with f4. I mean, this position was difficult for me to do anything. I think it's kind of a standoff. Would not be easy for me to win this game against anybody because the position is so closed and I don't have any breaks. But Troll just played f4, kind of panicking. So I'm going to play Ananas. I'm going to take guys who are subscribers first. Ananas plays d4. Hoping to play weird openings today. That's the point of the Wednesday stream. But not like ridiculous stuff. Just like unusual openings and variations I don't normally play. Let's try the Dutch defense. Ananas is a solid d4 player. He plays mainline openings and knows them fairly well. Like, I've played the King's Indian against him a lot, and with the white pieces in the Catalan, he's also quite strong. I think 2100 FIDE approximately. I don't know, he might be higher or lower than that, but I'm happy to see that he's back because, you know, it's nice to have some solid candidate master strength players and international masters on the stream. You remember IRC chess? I never did that, but in the computer lab at Boston University back in the early 90s, I was playing on on the internet chess server before there was like ICC or FICS. There was just internet chess server back in like 1991 or 92. I don't remember. Like around 1991, I really first played online chess. I know that people played like before that on other sites like CompuServe. I just remember having to type in the coordinates of my moves with the keyboard. Like, I mean, we had mouses obviously, but the site didn't have the capability to like move the pieces with the mouse. You had to like type in the key. You had to type in the coordinates of your moves. Bronx defense, what's crazy? Leningrad Dutch. I don't really play this opening, but I always wanted to. This is my chance to play things I always wanted to, but I've always been afraid to play, you know. The black side of the Leningrad Dutch. The FIDE server. Oh, yeah. I have a student who plays on there. I don't want to, like, tell him that he shouldn't because he likes it, but, yeah, obviously, it's kind of sketchy. But I would never play on the FIDE server for... Just because, like, FIDE itself is kind of corrupt. I'm constantly talking about that. Why would I support them by playing on their chess site, you know? I've never even, like, created an account or logged in there. I mean... So, Ananas plays b3. This is a really solid approach for white. It's not super ambitious, but kind of like Kramnik against the Dutch. Kramnik likes to play this type of setup against the King's Indian. It's very solid. The only reason I can play the Leningrad Dutch, I mean, I did try to study it for a very brief period a long time ago, but it's kind of related to the King's Indian. I mean, the structure is similar. I don't know what the best move is, but I think that A5 feels like the most aggressive sort of setup. Probably has its drawbacks. What I'd like to do is play A4 as a sort of pawn sacrifice to mess up his structure, you know, but in this instance I think he could just kind of take it and hold on to it. So I'm not going to do that just yet. I feel really strange playing this. I never play the Dutch, and Ananas is a very solid player. He's not going to force the issue too much. He's just going to try to build on his advantage, which is the way that I try to play myself these days. It's kind of like playing against yourself. A4 is a little more interesting now. What would Magnus do? Alright. Let's be consistent. Try to create some nuisance element. He just played b4. Wow. Is my pawn going to become a weakness? We don't have any knight e4. I mean, because he's taking and playing knight g5, but maybe that's not so bad for me. Take knight g5, d5. It might actually be playable for black. How overextended am I there? Not exactly developing a lot of pieces with that plan. I don't want him to play e4. That's really important. If I play something like h6, queen c2, of course I could play d5, but I create a massive hole in my position. This is actually kind of complicated. Okay, let's go for it. I don't want to get in ridiculous time pressure. Let's try to keep a little bit of time. Free Helios. You're a beginner. Actually, chess is really hard for me. You learned the Roy Lopez for a few weeks. It takes a while, probably. Yes. Thanks for subscribing, Helios. But I think that Roy Lopez is you know, probably the most well explored chess opening of all of them. Obviously, it's like one of the oldest. Will Paschall is named after like the monk who wrote about it, you know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So it comes from very old, you know, writings about chess, but probably the most written about and studied chess opening ever. E4, E5, knight F3, knight C6, bishop to B5. It's good for you to learn, yeah? I think it's very principled, yeah, strategic opening. I have an old book here called Modern Chess Opening Theory, and it's written by this Soviet Grandmaster Swayton. And in the back of the book, he gives a chapter on how to teach opening theory. And then he gives a program of studies in the Will Paschall. So of all the openings, like the Soviet Grandmaster Alexei Swayton thought that the Will Paschall was, you know, the most important to create a like study plan for black of that opening as an example. Knight d2. Perhaps I underestimated this move. I was looking only at knight g5, and this, well, I'm forced to play d5. But I'm active here. You know, why should I be worse? Queen b3 is attacking my a3 pawn. It's not my big consideration here. If he wins my a3 pawn, he's going to have to do something ridiculous like knight b1. I mean, that's fine. I've got to sidestep these tactics with knight takes pawn and focus on my development. But all of my pieces are active except for my bad knight on b8. Which can't develop to d7 without dropping material now. But time is becoming a real question. Bishop g4. Knight a6 is possible. Drops a pawn on a3 though, straight up. Not a good idea, huh? Alright, let's get it moving. I'm not sure if I might be a little overextended here. I liked my position at first glance, but so the a3 pawn doesn't bother me. It's the other side that I was a little worried about. Although now, let's just stick this on d3. I mean, the plan of like knight a6, knight c7. Drops my a3 pawn again. It's starting to piss me off. So I should just go here. This is pretty lame, but it might create queen f6 threats. Now he has tactics with f4, but I can always take. It's like a Stonewall Dutch, except on fianchettoed. We're just going with the flow. I'd like to play knight d7, knight f6, knight g4. I kind of like knight a6, knight c7, knight e6, knight g5 path, but it's all kind of fantasy. There's just too much going on to plan 5-move knight maneuvers here. All right. This could be a minor miscalculation. The safest for him, I guess, is just queen takes d3. So I guess it's not really a miscalculation. I may be making a mistake. In fact, taking on g2. This is tempting to play f2 check, win the exchange. I think he might have just missed this. He just resigned. I think it's a premature resignation. I mean, you got a pawn for the exchange. I wouldn't resign here. He's just angry that he blundered, but I think it's too early to resign. I mean, king h1, take. It's a blitz game. You're minus 1.3. I mean, you'll probably lose, but you should play on a little bit. I didn't see it at first when you played it as well. So e takes f3. You can recapture with a piece here, but you're going to lose the c4 pawn. Yeah, I don't know about the opening. Am I supposed to do a5? Some people even play it on this move. On move... What is this? Oh, that's when I did play it. Okay. So I forgot that queen e8 is apparently like the main plan. Knight e4 is well known. You can do a lot of different stuff. So a5, c4, c6. Yeah, I mean, this is one fine point. There's some games here. Grishuk, Nakamura. Naka played the Dutch for a while. But one fine point here, and also applies in the b3, g3 Kings Indians, I think, is that, you know, the knight on c3 might be better placed than on d2. That's a good question. Anyway, guys, I'm taking challenges from subscribers first. So, Juicebox Wizard is a subscriber. Let me know if any of you other guys are subscribers. Zen Chess was a subscriber. I'm not sure if he still is. Yeah, he just did. Awesome. Thank you for resubscribing, Zen Chess. 7 months in a row. I'm the best chess streamer. Thank you. Another strong player, Zen Chess. So we've got another game against the 2100-ish strength player. Juicebox Wizard. Actually, Ananas, you know, he didn't show his true potential in that game. Ananas, have you been away from playing for a while, or just not watching my stream? Juicebox Wizard, I play unusual openings. Again, nobody played e4. I want to play something weird against e4. c4 is tough to find. It's tough to find unusual lines against c4. What am I gonna do? I can try to play e5 and try to find an unusual variation in the upcoming part of the game. Like, I know, I mean, knight d2 makes sense, but knight c3 also makes sense. If you looked at the list, both are played a lot. Stockfish slightly like knight c3 better. There may have been slightly more games, but it's hard to say. Just, it's a typical Catalan problem, Turkey fam. Like, in a lot of the Catalan lines, there are huge subtle differences between knight d2 and knight c3, and knight c3 is just a tidbit more aggressive, or a tad bit. I don't know, it's kind of hard to play unusual lines, but let's try bishop b4. I mean, I don't know what else to do. This is actually a variation that I played fairly frequently. Could play a very early sort of f5, but we played the Dutch last game. Knight f6, I have no idea what he's going to play, and then it's going to be hard to play something weird. It is hard to find something against the the English, that's sort of unusual. Back in the day, when I was started to play this variation for black, because Roman GGS really played it against me back in like 1988 or 89, he won a really nice game against me in a rapid tournament where he sacked the knight on like g2 in the middle of my king side. I was just like stunned, you know. It's not that often you know, knight takes h2 or knight takes f2, but knight takes g2. Obviously his knight shouldn't have been that close to my king side, but back in the day, in the late 80s, this variation was really considered very unusual and speculative. I once played this against Simon Williams, but I've played both colors of this line. But I still consider it to be kind of a side variation. It's hard to play unusual lines against the English. So now I lost a really bad game to Alexander Kallichstein that was published in Inside Chess once, where I just took on c3. He took back with a b pawn, never moved the central pawn for like 23 moves. It was really weird. He never moved his d and his e pawns and just pummeled me like a dog. Yasser published it because it was so interesting to see someone get devastated, and the guy never moved his e2 pawn or his d2 pawn. It was really a cool game by White. Anyways, knight f3. I also lost with White against Igor Khmelnytsky once, but maybe knight c6 should be played. I don't know. I guess this kind of transposes to a reverse sort of Rossolimo. Right, so now my idea was to play a5. I guess bishop e7 is pretty solid though. In retrospect, I faced this once in a game, I think here on Lee Chess, when I was White, and somebody played bishop e7 against me and I was kind of frustrated. But the other move that's interesting is a5 here, I think. Should be slightly better for White, I guess. In the old days, well, I never really saw anyone play knight c6 in my games. Pretty much everyone took on c3 when I was black or when I was White. But I totally misplayed the game against Kallichstein, and then I can lose either side of this position. It's just basically a reversed Rossolimo. d3 looks kind of like a quiet continuation. The bishop e7 idea was originally introduced as a response to knight to d5 here. I can remember like Joel Benjamin playing that, and I think that Grandmaster Mihai Shuba talks about this in his Dynamic Chess Strategy book as well. White's played rather slowly here, so I think that we can justify this, our second Dutch-like approach. I don't like blocking my f-pawn in this type of structure. The Kalashnikov. Oh no. Juicebox Wizard playing Kalashnikov style. Takes, knight takes c7 check, king somewhere. Probably king d8, and then knight takes a8. Is an idea that exists in the Kalashnikov. I don't know if I can corral that knight though, you know. Probably we have a good chance to do it with like b6 and bishop b7. Alright, let's go for it. It'll be fun anyways. Although my king looks a little bit open. If I lose, I lose. This might be a little over the top. You only live once. This variation was analyzed in an old book called Secrets from Russia. There was this compendium of opening ideas that came out in like the mid-90s. And one of them was like white doing bishop g5, like in the Kalashnikov. Exactly like this. But the position is fairly stable for black. I mean, he's played c4 and e4, which is kind of slow. I think this is a typical middle game situation where the minor pieces are much more relevant than the rooks in this position. It's just, there's no open lines for his rooks to play, and my minor pieces are just going to dominate. Even rook a8. If anybody's rooks play, whose rook is it going to be? I'm basically like fully developed. Although I may not want to put my rook on a8, depending where he castles. If he's going to castle kingside, then f-file or h5, h4. Take knight d4. We should be winning here. Just winning for black. He's going to get checkmated on the long diagonal. Juicebox Wizard, a little too creative. King c7 was too slow. Too slow. I guess it wasn't necessary to play King c7. It was kind of paranoia. It was a little bit of like paranoia. I admit you're right. Like, he's not actually threatening anything. I was thinking already about playing rook a8, but I should be focused on his king side. Yeah, you may have a good point there. It may in fact be slow, but I don't think it matters. Like, black's position is so much better that we can afford one prophylactic move. Serbian Santa Claus, what's up? How did you fare in the tournament last night? I guess you didn't get to play too many games. We had a viewer tournament. I finished 4th, which is the usual. The winner of the tournament says that they're like from Greenland, JWD something or other, an Inuit account from Greenland. That's amazing. I mean, in the internet age, why not? It's totally possible. But that player is so strong and experienced that I really thought like they would have had to have played in tournaments, you know. Wonder if the Inuits actually have ever had any like tournaments in Greenland. Has there ever been a chess tournament in Greenland? That's an amazing thought. All right, so White's kind of hanging on here. It doesn't look like I have a direct win. This actually, speaking of slow, my original plan of h5, h4 looks really slow. We have more lively threats of just trying to like get him on the long diagonal with some knight d2, knight f3 type of stuff. But my minor pieces are just crushing. You were like 11th, but you didn't play much. You're doing the road to 2400. So you were Serbian Santa Claus. You were actually. But what do you mean? You were like streaming while I was streaming, or you were just playing? Sigh. I have to calculate a tiny bit here. It would be nice to put my queen on c5 with discoveries. There's no way out of that, but he gets a rook on the 7th, and my king goes back to b8. But then it's like, what would he do next? Then stack the exchange on b7, and well, I'm running out of time. It's kind of a weird situation. Very nasty discoveries for me. I guess if he does queen d7, I have to think, what in the world is my best discovery there? I have funny moves like knight e6, check, followed by knight d8, defending b7 and attacking his f7 rook. That looks very problematic for what? Problematic, because I'm threatening all sorts of stuff. There's also a lot of weird mates. He can obviously sack and exchange, but he runs out of checks. So, I don't know. Looks like white should fall short here. He was just playing blitz. You got to 2400. I'm not surprised. You say you're just an amateur, but I think you're pretty good. Maybe if you concentrate, focus, just resigns here. I was looking at this and trying to figure out what the best line was going to be. But there's apparently a mate. That's insane, there's a mate here. King h1, knight f2 check. Knight h4 check. King f1, bishop g2 check. King g1, knight h3. That's pretty. Alright, just an opening check. But what's the main line here? See, bishop takes c3 is the main line, but the second best move is d6. And I think, I mean knight c6, and I think that this move deserves more attention. My move hasn't been played very often, a5. Apparently e4 is the main move. I didn't know that at all, the theory with that. Bishop e7 is okay. Seems like it should be okay. But the score isn't too good. Alright, going back to challenges, Lousy Dirty Cheater, Tushar, stupid names, Zen Chess, just subscribed. We'll go with that. Challenge. By the way, guys, we had a donation to support our efforts to buy a new gaming mouse. So a really generous donation. I'd like to thank you for that, and I'm gonna purchase the new mouse this week. I've got a temporary mouse that's not too bad, but it's not really optimal. It's also very loud. Juicebox Wizard, I played your advice from the stream. That was a repeat of the first game. Okay, so it was you. I didn't realize that. I know that I had played against somebody, but I couldn't remember who it was. Now I've got to play white. It's Unusual Openings, Zen Chess. I'm glad I'm white because actually if he had played white, he would have played e4. I need someone to play e4 against me today. Usually not a problem here on Lee Chess. Like, way more people play e4 than, you know, the preponderance of people playing e4 is usually higher than in tournaments, but today I haven't had any luck. c4 and d4. What are we going to do with white? We could play e4, try to play some kind of sharp opening. I forgot Zen chess plays the Sicilian, so what do we do against the Sicilian that's unusual, that we haven't done? Wing Gambit or something like that. I never played that. I mean, I don't really know. Try to play a Wing Gambit. I'm totally only knowledgeable a little bit as black with the white pieces. I have no experience here. A3. Try to play like a friend of mine. Okay, A3, it's been around for quite a while. I've played that before on the stream. Apparently Simon Williams has adopted that, but it was played, you know, extensively like 15 years ago by a lot of players. I mean, A3 is not a new idea on move 2. Simon Williams likes unusual openings. E5 isn't very common in chess, but I think the computer likes that move, if I remember correctly. I've always played D5. Most players play D5. There's the famous game, E takes D5, Queen takes D5, A takes B4, where Kamran Shirazi lost to Queen E5 check in the US Championship against Jack Peters. I think back around like 1989 or something. I remember I was in high school and that was like published in Chess Life. I don't know what Shirazi was doing, like playing backgammon all night, or, you know, how could a experienced international master like drop his rook on A1? I mean, that looks like something you'd do if you literally like pulled an all-nighter and you were like, you know, totally sleep deprived or something. And even then, I don't know how you would have done it, but it's very suspicious. So, you know, my intuition here is to just develop my pieces. I don't know any theory. I do know that this diagonal is open. We can try for kind of classical type of E4, E5 pressure. You learn this from Experts versus the Anti-Sicilian book. I haven't perused that. I guess it's just a matter of taste, you know. I did notice the last time I went over the Wing Gambit for some reason that E5 was getting played, and I think the engine likes it. But D5 was always the classic recommendation in older books, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. You know, I guess it's just half a dozen of one, six of the other. What kind of pawn structure do you like? Most Sicilian players don't like this E4, E5 structure that much. But I guess, you know, in today's chess world, we just we can research the openings more deeply. We don't have to just trust the type of structure. You can analyze it more. It's like an Evans Gambit. It's totally like an Evans Gambit. A takes B4. The question is, should I play bishop c4 first? Maybe. Alright, I'm going to just play Evans Gambit style here. I don't know, it's also... The other move that appeals to me is bishop c4. I'm probably playing into like Zen Chess's book recommendation. And now it's an Evans Gambit. But I don't know any theory at all. It's not really an Evans Gambit, it's just like an Evans Gambit. I'm just kidding. He has an extra pawn on the queen side. That looks very solid for black. I have to admit. The setup. Hard to argue with this. I'm not even sure that bishop c4 is a good move in this position. I don't seem to have enough compensation. I don't have really nearly enough compensation. But I don't know what else I could have done. Maybe not play bishop c4. Just a more solid type of setup based on like h3, perhaps. Okay, I'm just down a pawn. It's a Joko piano type of Hungarian defense sort of position. I'm wondering if he can go for like another pawn, but that seems kind of greedy. Yeah, we just don't have any compensation for our missing central pawn. Okay, we have a strong center, but that doesn't generate any real threats. I'd like to play the Danish Gambit or Evans or something like that, but no one plays e4, e5. That's the problem, Tushar. Now what am I going to do? I guess knight on bd2 would make some sense. I'm a little concerned about... Alright, let's just do this. He's got 6 minutes. Black is clearly better. I wonder what I can do though if I was a wing gambit player for real. Play this differently. Maybe not take on b4. That was one thing I was thinking about. I mean, am I actually helping black? My first inclination was to go here. That move may well be slightly better than taking on b4. Because I feel like I'm helping him develop when I play a takes b4. Even though he loses like a half tempo or whatever with bishop takes b4 back, I'm only playing c3. Looks like I pretty much have to go d5 now. h3, I'm just losing a second pawn. I just can't really justify that. We have 0 compensation. .1. Black is like 0.9 better here, probably, according to the computer. I have like 1/10 of a pawn compensation. Probably. A little bit of space. Not very impressive. Now my bishop on c4 is dreadfully placed. And this may be a mistake as well. My bishop couldn't stay on c4. But if I put it on d3, probably the most accurate move order would be something like rook e1, knight on bd7, and then move my bishop to somewhere. Bishop d3. Yeah, this is the problem. This is the problem with my last move. Really impressive play. Basically nothing to do. I'm just like losing on time. Should have played rookie 1. He's an expert against the wing gambit. Bad choice of opening by me. Queen b3 protected my d5 pawn from knight takes d5. That was my big idea there, but I'm just getting roasted anyway. A clear pawn down, now it's like worse than a pawn down. His precision is noticeable. Noticeable and notable. Precision by black. Everything, bishop g6, the queen move is good. I should have played rookie 1 instead of queen, instead of bishop e2, I guess. But honestly, at that point, I'm already a pawn down for nothing. I'm not really too thrilled with my position. Okay, nobody should resign because they lost a pawn. But I did that once against Kamsky. I just didn't feel like sitting there and suffering for like 3 hours while Gata just did his thing. So I guess I have bishop a6 here. Hopefully Zenchess can make some inaccuracies and give me a chance. Maybe an unnecessary exchange sacrifice or something like that. We're not dead completely. Man, this is uncomfortable at best. I was about to flag. I didn't really have a plan there. This looks like a bad move though, queen d1. Not the worst move, but it doesn't really do anything. I'm just in really bad time pressure. 3 seconds per move to stay alive here. It's a little hard for black to make progress, I guess. But queen a4 was something like queen a4 would have been better. Yeah. Queen d1 is bad. Queen a2, queen a4, staying more active. Maybe we can survive. Survive and prosper. After wasting a whole tempo. Get our pawn back, and we can even dream of playing for a win. He has two bishops, but his dark square bishop... I mean, both bishops remain somewhat buried. Well, black is still very solid. Rook b2 is not a bad move. But I don't think knight h5 was right. We're going to go right for the throat. Back rank, and I can't afford to like drop any pieces here. Knight takes d6 next. Okay, he messed it up. This is obviously lost for black, but in the opening I'm disappointed. The only move played is c3 there, of course, yeah, but here's the question. So my instincts were maybe right. It turns out that bishop b5 is a possibility, but I think a takes b4 is bad. It helps him to untangle and develop his pieces. It's better to develop bishop c4, bishop b5. That was what I figured. After a3, this e5. See, there's far more gains with d5, but e5 is... like, there's no named players, really, in this list. These are probably correspondence games. Mostly with e5. I think computers are steering people toward e5 for the most part. Turkey Farm said bishop e5 looked natural. Well, you know, to be honest, to me it looks more natural to go here than attacking f7. I mean, that's the biggest disadvantage of playing e5, but bishop b5, I guess, attacks the e5 pawn. I would still go with this. The score seems better for bishop b5. These are all correspondence or computer games. This move is the most common. Knight f6. Oh, I see. So there is this Zayarny guy. Okay, he's like Moldovan. He Anatoly Zayarny, this Moldovan master. He's the only guy who plays the wing gambit like exclusively 2300 level or above. There's a game he lost against Shirov. He's got games against everybody. Crazy, like, gambit style. I guess FIDE master. But this looks interesting. Yeah, I mean, theoretically, knight g5. A bunch of games here. People actually played knight takes d5, knight takes f7. I mean, you have a chance to play this against Shirov and you didn't do it. I mean, that's crazy. You could play the fried liver against Shirov and you don't do it. I don't know, man. I couldn't pass up on that chance. But apparently it's not really clear. Much like the real fried liver. So we've got challenges from Lousy Dirty Cheater, Tushar, Stupid Names, Santa Claus. Which are you, Sir Crobin? I'm going to take this challenge from... we already played Juicebox Wizard. I'm going to take the challenge from... There was another subscriber. Wasn't there? Or I guess that was Enchest I was thinking of. Alright, we'll just take them in order. Lousy Dirty Cheater. I get black. You're KZ. Well, yeah, you're at the bottom of the list now because you just challenged me kind of late. Lousy Dirty Cheater played Knight H3. Will somebody please play E4 against me today before we're done? Hopefully the next person who has white. Okay, Knight H3 I played once myself in a tournament game. So E5 feels like more critical. Maybe tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is subscriber stream. Okay, E5. I played a 2400 player. I played D4 pawn takes pawn against. No, that's not right. That's not right. How did it go? I guess I also played G3, and then my opponent played D5, and then I played D4. Does that make sense? It's been so long ago, I don't remember now. Alright. But G3 is a normal way to continue here, I think. You can play a so-called rat style modern defense with like F3, Knight F2. You could even play without Bishop G2. You know, some people do like this eccentric kind of F3, Knight F2. It's probably not that bad. But white can't really, you know, justify this very early knight on H3. Looks kind of suspicious. What's that? You recommend H5. Yeah, okay. Shirazi. We can go Shirazi style with H5. Yeah, I like it. No, H5 is strong here, okay? You're right. But if I play H5, then maybe white should go... Well, he doesn't have to, but he can consider playing F3. And if H4 or G4, locking the king side. Yeah, H5 is particularly good against... Now H5 is really strong, I think. Once this happened to me against Hungarian master Ferenc Barabora in an English opening where I put my knight on H6 and then he was like H4. I was like, oh shit. I was already castled and I had my knight on H6 and I didn't even think about H4. And I was lucky to win the game because strategically I think once you allow this, black is better. But okay, he still has F3, H4, G4 here. This is really his best chance. It's not that bad. I'm not gonna be able to like checkmate him. And I don't even know, like, I guess it's got to be like clearly better for black, but I think theoretically he probably shouldn't castle. You know, he has more flexibility not castling. I mean, this is just an eccentric opening. I'm not trying to argue that it's a good opening for white, but people do it with black as a kind of joke opening. And it's actually something you can play in like very fast chess automatically. It's not that easy. World Loser beat me once. A guy who was our former moderator for a time and is here on the stream a lot. World Loser. I remember once he beat me doing the rat with black. You know, just the setup with F6, G6, Bishop G7, Knight H6, Knight F7. You know, you can play a whole lot of moves in like 15 moves without thinking. And the other guy has to think about, like, how am I going to bust this stupid setup? But C4 looks like he's going in a different direction. I mean, that would be something you do normally with the very early g3, bishop g2. So I don't know. H4 here anyway looks strong, doesn't it? Maybe that just like crushes white. Yeah, maybe this is a problem. Now he has to play. It looks like he might have to play something ridiculous like knight to g5. Is that even possible? Sorry for breathing loudly. Okay, what do you mean, Turkey Farm? By Simon Disagrees then? What are you guys talking about? The A3 variation? I am Voya. Oh, that guy, he would always do simuls on ICC. I don't really know him. He seems like he has a kind of boring style, though. Solid player. You know, an experienced solid player, but I just watched him playing sometimes, and it looked like... I just felt that his style was kind of boring. But yeah, I mean, it's great. He's an IM. I mean, you should definitely benefit from that a lot. Knight g5. Yeah, this is what I was thinking. So we don't have any kind of like primitive way to play for mate with knight g4, knight e4. Okay, I'll open the H file, right? Or not? Yeah. Okay, it's possible to do bishop c5. But I also don't have to go nuts here. I mean, I have a strong center. And I don't have to play like a maniac gambit style. I mean, maybe I'm just better strategically. Maybe he can take back that way with the f-pawn, but I underestimated this a little bit. May have been a serious mistake on my part. Now I have to revert to like a kind of solid approach. Bishop c5, e3. So I want to sack the exchange with rook takes h2 and go totally postal. Rook takes h2. Then he has insane possibilities like bishop takes d5, knight takes d5, knight takes f7. Is that even sound? I mean, worst comes to worst, I could just play something solid like c6 probably. It almost seems like white. It almost seems like white is stolen the initiative here. Yeah, this is the kind of position you could definitely screw up. Rook takes h2. King takes knight check and then takes on g5. Then he has even bishop takes d5 type of stuff. There's even crazy lines like rook takes h2, knight takes f7. No, that doesn't work. Rook takes h2, bishop takes d5. I looked at that before. Rook takes h2, king takes h2, check. King g1, queen takes g5. Bishop takes d5. I may not even be able to mate him there. Alright. I don't know. I don't see anything convincing. I wasted a lot of time here, obviously, but I made a mistake exchanging on g3. It was just premature. There was no reason. I just underestimated the recapture with the f pawn. I thought it would weaken him on this diagonal and it would be bad, but I don't have any tactics. So there was just absolutely no reason to take there. I played a surprising move d4. But it's probably not that bad. But I think I have to just keep it closed here now. Try to consolidate my space advantage, but white has good play. This is really not easy for black. I overextended myself effectively. There was just absolutely no reason to do pawn takes pawn on g3. I mean, the rook takes h2 was interesting. And it was unclear, but I just was unconvinced. And it still looks relatively solid for black. Bishop f4. Knight c3, bishop f4, queen b3. White is better here. The whole position just totally reversed. I was better, and in one move effectively with pawn takes g3, I just went from better to worse. Unless I missed an obvious tactic that I'm not aware of. I'm not sure about his move d4, but it certainly doesn't look bad. Now knight a6. Knight a6 is an idea. It's very hard for me to get developed. It's like I'm overextended in a French advance. It's like a hyper-accelerated dragon. This is dream position for white. I should have just pulled the trigger on rook takes h2. I reverted to a solid... Okay, maybe I can play like bishop e6 or something and let him take my bishop on e6. It's not that bad. Say like bishop f4, bishop e6. Now I have to play like queen b6, I think. I don't see really a better move. White's position is optimal for this kind of hypermodern sort of setup. I'm on this. I don't know how relevant that is. I really like white's game. The kind of position I would like to play with black, actually. He could do an exchange sacrifice on f6, but I don't think that does anything. So I don't know for white here, just exchanging on d5 or bishop f4 would have been a normal move, last move. Now maybe he has to think about this d4 pawn. Can he sacrifice that? Bishop f4, queen takes, d4 check. I kind of doubt it. I mean, is he going to sacrifice two pawns there? If I trade queens now. I guess I can trade queens and just hang on. Knight b5, bishop d7, rook takes a6, bishop takes b5. It looks like as long as I have bishop d7, kind of hanging on. Black is just kind of in an absolute defensive mode here. But structurally, we have a slight advantage now. And knight b4 might be good, though he has knight a4. He has knight a4 anyway. I mean, I'm not going to be able to stop that. Bishop b4, developing a piece, perhaps. Losing the best possible square for my knight. Yeah, this move is bad. Alright, I'm glad you went there, because I hated my move. I hated my move anyway. I do not want to exchange that. Now I have tactics. Knight g4, maybe? It's kind of double-edged. Maybe I should just castle. Jeez, close the file for my own play. Yeah, screw it. I'll just castle. I mean, forget about it. Whatever. I'm just paralyzed to my f7 pawn, and I'm about to lose on time. I'm lucky I'm okay here. Oh, I didn't expect that recapture. He took with the bishop. And I like pre-moved. He just resigned, but he's losing pawns. Well, this is a weird game. I mean, in the final position I'm winning, but I was under pressure the whole way. Yeah, so here d4 was played by me. You see the game in 2011? I played d4, e takes d4, knight f4. I was just messing around. I played this a lot in blitz, but it's not sound. Like a gambit. But here, yeah, the computer doesn't like h4. It thinks he should play d4 right away. But anyway, I don't know. c4, h4, knight g5 only move. And now the question is what to do. The engine's arguing for taking space with h3, but I think after this, I'm like worse. Like, look, f takes g. Here I was plus, it says like -6, -8 for black, and when I play f takes g, h takes g after f takes g, he's like better now. Yeah, so rook h2, it was the best move. Shit, maybe, but it's very unclear. This is what I wanted to play really bad. Fascinating position. Like, if he takes, it looks like I have a strong attack. I mean, he may just be getting mated, you know, after queen takes g5. Like, I'm not sure, though. I mean, there's this bishop on c5. I just thought if he moves his rook somewhere, he has f1, and it's hard to checkmate him there. But he doesn't have to take the rook, and that's the problem. That's why this is so complicated. Apparently this, with absolute chaos ensuing. I have no idea what's going on here. But anyway, it would have been a fun game. Interesting game as it is, man. Dirty cheater. You got good play there. So guys, we're going to play who we can. There's no other subscribers challenging me momentarily. Zencha says, was e takes d4, queen takes d4, knight d7 possible with threat of bishop c5? When he played d4? Yeah, I didn't think about that. I mean, I just thought I'm mobilizing his pieces for him to play it like a c3 Sicilian would have been. It looks like you're right, Zen Chess. This also... Yeah, I didn't consider it. Okay, he doesn't have to play queen takes d4. He might be able to play this move, this intermezzo, you know. This is much different. This is probably best. C takes d4, and then crazy complications after that. But anyway, really fun game. Okay, I'm going to play Tushar Danish style feta. We're doing good, man. We're doing well. And we're grammatically correct. All right. E4. I'm just kidding, guys. Tushar kinda had a fun game against me. He was winning yesterday. Yeah, finally I get to play the weird opening I wanted to play. I hope. I promise I'm not going to play the normal French defense. So, this is my weird opening of the day. What is this? I was just really interested in trying this because it has some independent ideas, you know, and I never considered it seriously till I looked at it yesterday. Kind of a funny opening. I mean, it's going to transpose to French type of stuff here after knight f3. But I'm kind of like, I was more hoping he would play something crazy like d5, you know, really ambitious, or knight c3, and on knight c3 you go bishop b4, and it's this weird cross between like the Nimzovich and the French defense. But knight f3 looks like we have to kind of go back into a French style position with d5. This is like the main line, according to the opening explorer. You got to play the regular viewers to get the 1e4. Hybrid French defense. Knight c6. Now knight c3. Does that... e5 is the main move there, apparently. Not very many games. Like, a few strong players have messed around with it, notably Tony Miles, no surprise. But after knight c3, we have the option to play bishop b4 again, which probably should be fun. He can play a weird exchange French. That's certainly not something I'm afraid of. But the main line seems to be e5 with a hybrid advanced French, where I've played knight c6. It's not that easy for black to get counterplay after that. I mean, this is obviously playable for white as well. I don't want to take on c3 unprovoked. So I guess knight e7. Trying to develop. But I'm not a French player. Although I wanted to play the French, kind of like the Dutch. I always kind of just wanted to play it, but I never got around to it. Okay, bishop e5 doesn't bother me. We're winning a pawn here, or not? Not necessarily. We're not winning a pawn, which is weird. Bishop takes c3, bishop takes c6. Alright, let's give it a try. We're not actually winning a pawn. We're gaining a friend. Probably gaining a friend on A3. But I thought we can navigate that and just kind of pretend it's not there. Octavian said, what? I had played over 200 games and my elo is still only 500. Well, it sounds like you're a beginner. I guess that's normal. If you're just a beginner to chess. Bishop takes c6. I don't know if this guy is serious or he's trolling me. Making fun of 500s, or are you really 500? Bishop takes c6. Okay, knight takes c6, b takes c. Yeah. I think I had some hallucination here. We'll take with the bishop, contrary to popular belief. Take with the bishop and then play for a white square blockade. Queen d7. Voices in my head are telling me to play queen d7. But seriously, anybody can be 500. I mean, if they're new to the game, it doesn't. You have to, you know, practice. It sounds like I agree. I agree with Zen Chess. It sounds like you would need to improve tactically. You know, that would be easy to get over like 1,000. If you do it a lot, if you do a lot of tactics problems. So this is the friend that I was talking about. Knight f5 is interesting. Trying to provoke him. He's not one that like minds extending his pawns. Not a player who minds, but I'm planning on evacuating. I'm planning on evacuating to another place. Knight f5. Maybe it's like better to just castle. We could also make prophylactic moves like b6, possibly. How about knight g5 for white, though? Alright, I'm just going to play on my gut instinct, but this guy seems very strong. Like, this is inducing him to play g4. I'm not castled over there, and I can castle queenside. If he plays g4, then I play knight back to e7, and then he can't play knight g5, queen h5 anymore because his pawn is on g4. That's our justification. But it's obviously a very interesting position. I mean, white has a space advantage, which this player has several times against me shown a very strong affinity for using spatial advantage on the king side. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to really help you if you're a beginner and you play like 500 1-minute games. I mean, I'm not sure it helps anybody, but I'm not a believer in like ultra fast chess. I think you need at least like 3 minutes to play a decent game, and if you're a beginner, you need more. So, you know, I didn't really play anything faster than 5-minute chess ever until I was maybe like a master, when I would start experimenting with like 2 minutes chess or something. Okay, rook b1 doesn't do much. Just play a solid prophylactic move. This supports a5. It just blocks his play along the b file. I can castle anytime I want. There may be a small drawback to b6. He's 2180 rapid, 1900 in blitz. Bullet, like a little under 2000, so mostly bullet games. Yeah, that's exactly the move I was concerned about. Queen e2. Like he's reading my mind. Basically threatening queen a6. The only drawback of b6. Which weakens my queen side in the event that I castle queen side. Now he goes c4. That looks extremely dangerous for white. Maybe a blunder? A blender or blunder? Problem is I can't castle kingside at all. There's no way that's going to happen with the bishop on a3. This apparent blunder may not be all that clear. I mean, it's definitely not a good move for white, but I'm not certain that it loses out of hand. Because taking on d4 looks kind of problematic for me. Like, I'm not sure I can actually take the pawn on d4 without bad things happening to me. And therefore, while it's a positional mistake, I'm not certain that he's going to lose material here. Because bishop takes f3, queen takes c4, bishop takes f3, g takes f. What am I going to do? This is probably a mistake again. Now I should be winning. He should bite the bullet and take the pawn there. It looks like now it looks like a semi-Slav. I think I'm just clearly winning. Not a forced win for black, but he could have tried queen takes c4, bishop takes f3, and I don't know if I can really take that pawn. Queen takes d4, queen takes c7. Looks better for him, and knight takes d4, rook d1. I'm getting pinned on the d file. That looks... So Tushar should have just taken back on c4, but I don't think it's that bad. Now he's basically like in Zugzwang. He can't, he's just paralyzed and frozen completely. I need to attack his king side. What's the best way to do it? G5 looks really strong, no? G5, but maybe not. I mean, G5 weakens my position too. There's H5, H4. Okay, he has some defensive resources here. The plan is very deep. The plan is very deep for white. I have to be really careful. I'm sure he'll find the best defenses. Much like a French semi-Slav. Like in the long run, maybe I'm winning on the queen side. He resigned, but I mean, queen f1 is the whole point, you know. And after queen f1, you could even, like, I could even mess this up, man. This is a very bad resignation. If I didn't play g5, this is the only good move. If I didn't do this, you would have very strong play with knight d2 and knight e4 and knight f6 or what have you. But this is absolutely a terrible resignation for white. I mean, you're still alive here completely. You know, black is better, but you should never resign in this position. I mean, maybe he just didn't see queen f1, but it's highly unpleasant for white, but I wouldn't think you should give up. But this was a bad blunder. I mean, d4 is a mistake. I mean, c4. But my question is that after d takes c4, why can't you take this? Is this really bad? You know, this might not even be that great for black. And the computer is talking about bishop d5, which I was thinking about, honestly. But here as well, I mean, it's not 100% clear. What am I going to do? Try to take this pawn on a2? That wastes time. So the best move is something like this. I mean, black is better, but maybe you could sack a pawn, something like this. And try to play c4 and d5 or something. Interesting opening. I don't know what it's called. I don't know if this has ever happened before. Yeah, there's a bunch of games here. Wojtkiewicz game. Christian Bauer is the one who's played this the most at a reasonable level. So e5, knight on g to e7. This is apparently like a new move. But I don't really like bishop b5. Vast majority of players with bishop d3 here. That's your good bishop. You need to keep it on the board. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to resign. Queen f1, white's still in the game. All right, only stupid names left. There's a crazy house challenge. That's out. All right, we've only got time, about 35 minutes, 2 or 3 more games. Only stupid names left. No, I mean, normally he doesn't quit, but I think he just didn't see it. I assume that he played rook e1 to be able to play queen f1, you know? So I'm supposed to play unusual openings today. I guess we can play another e4, hope for something fun. Nobody plays e4, e5. Another Alekhine's defense. Last week on Wednesday I had a game. It's always hard to think of something unusual against this. Last time I played e5, knight d5, c4, knight b6, a4. But I'm running out of ideas. I've played the highly dubious e5, knight d5, queen f3 once in the not so distant past. But I don't want to play something utterly stupid. You know, I'm trying to play kind of unusual lines. I didn't have anything in mind for the Alekhine's defense though. Or Alyokhin, if you prefer. Alyokhin, Alekhine. Play f4. Well, there's only like a couple of moves here, obviously. Let's try knight c3 and see if we can find something creative after that. Maybe he'll transpose to e4, e5. He did. Most people don't do that. Personally, I like to play d5. It's kind of the most combative move for black. Now we have to find something here in the Vienna game with knight s6. I could also transfer to a 4 knights. Maybe we'll do that. Just play something in the 4 knights. a3 in the 4 knights or something. Not the most interesting, but could play d4. Pawn takes, queen takes. Transferring to yeah, let's try that. The center game. Transfer to the center game. Pawn takes, queen takes, knight c6, queen e3. Unless he doesn't take. In which case, the only other move here for black is basically, well, d5. I don't know about that. The center game's kind of like the center counter. Morozevich actually played this for a brief period back in the 90s. The King's Gambit modern variation. The Vienna Gambit. But that's like a mainline opening. I mean, it seems like f4. This is like, I would classify that as like a mainline opening. It's very common. Stupid Names Left played bishop b4. And now d6, which is probably good for me. He's supposed to play castles here. And a quick rook e8. And d6 is the tempo that might make a difference, that gives white a kind of promising position. Should I play queen g3 or should I castle though? First, castles, and then queen g3. I think I once won this position against a really low-rated player. The guy was like 1700. I mean, I'm 2400, 2500 USCF in the past. I basically rarely played people who were... It was a club tournament maybe 20 years ago. I rarely played this opening. On maybe 2 or 3 occasions ever have I played the center attack with white. One of the 2 or 3 games I ever played, I think the guy played like this, and he did... I think he did like 95 at an early stage here. But this is already supposed to be like, I guess, slightly better for white. Although he could play knight h5. I think this was my game. Bishop h6, there's like answers against that. But the main thing is that white, plays f3 and supports the pawn. And then we can start a strong attack on the king's side with the pawns, basically. h4, knight maneuver to e2 or h3. But the critical line is to not play d6, castles, rook e8, and black's fine. I mean, I think the Vienna game is probably okay for white, but it shouldn't lead to any real advantage. Now knight h5 basically forces me back. But he's gonna... Oh no, there he has bishop c5. Maybe I need to go back here. Because I don't want to walk into bishop c5, do I? It seems strange to play queen e1, but at the same time, I may just pop back out again after playing g4. Queen e1, it reminds me of some lines in the Open Sicilian. The queen sometimes goes to e1. Usually from d2. So guys, I have half an hour left. 2 more games at the most. These 5+3s I'll play. Knight g6 looks really unnecessarily passive. He's achieving very little with that. I mean, he's actually not stopping even h4. I thought about bishop c4 momentarily, but then he can play bishop e6. That doesn't seem to help me. G4, H4. Ooh, that looks pretty strong, actually. G4, knight, HF4, H4. Ooh. Or I could play H4 first. Is that even stronger? In the event of something like F5, I would have to deal with that. Okay, let's do G4. I don't want to have to calculate H4, F5. Let's just go for the direct approach. Now black has some serious questions to answer. I guess he could play H5, but it's kind of risky, to say the least, to try to hold it together there on the king side. The other possibility is Queen F6, which looks really awkward, but also feasible. Queen F6, Queen F6, H5 looks pretty bad. So he did H5. He's not threatening anything. And I can play Queen G3. Can also just take on H5. But we don't have that many options, actually. Another interesting move is King B1, a prophylactic move. Just in case. We might need it at a later date. Make him think a little bit, you know? It's not that easy. Now he has freedom to do whatever he wants, you know, for a moment. That often is a good way to get people to make mistakes. But Bishop E6 actually looks quite strong. But G5. Kind of a strange idea, but it might throw him off a little bit. He's playing really well though. For like 1500. We only played once though. I don't remember this game. If he played well. No, he just got mated brutally. That was the other day. Okay. I think he's playing quite credibly, basically defending against all my threats. G5, probably not the best move. Kind of a cheapo. It feels like a cheapo. Yeah. This isn't that good. Alright, I need to get on with my development. I'm probably going to have to play like knight e2 and even have to defend my own king here. So most likely I should have played something more natural, like taking on h5 to open it up. It would have been better. Feels like this is an attempt to like cheaply win a piece by me. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure I can even like attempt to win this because he has too many counter threats against my king after bishop e6. This is an excellent move. Bearing down on a2. You know, if I try to do like queen g3, take the knight, he'll have like bishop takes c3. All he needs is queen d7 and queen a4. And I would be in trouble, you know. So if he plays queen d7 here or queen e8, black is perfectly fine, I would think. I have some space advantage. Yeah, queen e8. That's a subtle move. I mean, maybe I can do something weird like knight b5 here. Just playing for some space advantage. But basically trading this bishop isn't really what I wanted to do. Now I have a very small space advantage, but it's very hard to take control back of f4 because I played like g5 and I didn't take on h5. That was a very bad. This was a very bad decision. Impulsive to play g5. Obviously, Hungary is not communist, but corruption they have. Okay, Queen c6. Corruption is omnipresent. This is a subtle game for a guy who's 1500. I mean, I really think that he's played this pretty well. But you know, I had the sense against him the first game that he was strong positionally, but then the tactics were the problem. He started to fall apart when I had direct tactical threats. So it seems like Only Stupid Names Left has a very good strategic sense. What's up with the political discussion? Like, this is a chess stream. All right, knight d4. We have space to compensate for this lockdown he has on f4. He dropped his queen, see? I mean, he's a really good player strategically, but he needs to improve tactically. If he doesn't make that move, I think that black is fine, actually. The computer is arguing that white has a tiny edge, I guess, because of space. But well, apparently I have this, but I thought that queen f6 is fine for black. Why is this so devastating? The engine really, really likes this. And a3, a5, a3, a5, okay. That's an interesting resource. And then knight on g to e2. Knight takes e2, bishop takes e2, keeping the tension. And I'm threatening to take on h5. So apparently black just kind of melts down, which I, you know, obviously I suspected when he played h5, but I didn't find the proper response. Okay, we'll play Santa Claus. We will play Santa Claus, e4. We've got second attempt to play our weird opening, maybe. Let's try it against Santa Claus. I mean, that player is decent strategically. If he's 1500, then it's only because of tactics. I think tactics are easy to improve. I almost played the French by accident. This is our new defense, the Christian Bauer defense. Christian Bauer often plays the Owens defense with black with like b6 on move 1. But I was thinking maybe, I was wondering how Bauer would do this. Would he play e6 first, or would he play knight c6 on move 1? You can do it both ways, obviously. So knight c3, we get to play the other variation, bishop b4, though this may transpose to our previous game. It has some independent possibilities as well. Yeah, f4 is... f4, I'm sure, has been played before. But f4, to me, you know, feels like black plays d5 and you have kind of weaknesses on the white squares a little bit. But it's playable for white, of course. And now it's kind of like Nimzo Indian style. We've doubled the pawns. We'll try to blockade the position. Totally, well, I was going to say totally different from last game, but not. Different structure. Okay, I'm not playing d5. Last game I had the bishop on a3, for just patrolling this diagonal. You know, we don't really want that if we can help it. It's a little passive for black, but I think this is fully playable. It's not clear how white should set up, where he should put his bishops, for example. If he should play knight f3, or maybe he can play like bishop d3, knight e2, and keep his f-pawn free to move, like in the Nimzo Indian. But I think it's an interesting opening. I mean, not too many people play this for black. I never had to face it, for example, that I can recall. Now, Santa Claus getting wildly aggressive with queen g4. Knight f6 takes, rook g8, queen h6, rook g6. Then he goes back to e3 and he's up a pawn. So on knight f6 takes, queen h6, I would have to grab the takes, rook g8, queen h6. I can't grab the pawn back, actually. Alright, king f8 is like a last resort. g6 is horribly weakening my king side. Knight f6 just seems to lose a pawn. The other possibility is queen f6, which looks playable. Alright, we're going to go with that. I don't know if this is theory, because I never really studied it, but this looks like the least weakening option for black, or least committal. Like, I'm not putting my king on f8, I'm not weakening my structure, I'm not sacrificing a pawn. White's structure looks like a 2 knights defense or something. Or 4 knights, excuse me. Bishop c4. In this position, or are you talking about earlier? Maybe, I think Arsenal fan was talking earlier. Bishop c4, it's like the it's like the hillbilly attack against the French. Not in this position. Okay, queen g4, queen f6. And obviously I have queen g6, which will put pressure on e4. I don't know what he's threatening here. I'm threatening e5 in some positions. h6. There's also knight f6, obviously, but he can meet that with, what, f3? Not that easy to decide what to do here. There's also these sort of ideas like bishop e2, bishop h5. Serbian Santa Claus is very fast, and all right, let's think about knight f6 here. Maybe I don't have to commit to it. Maybe I can play like a e5 first. E5. I don't really want to play my knight to f6. It would block my f pawn, but I think these threats would like bishop h5. I have to be careful about playing f5. e5 was the structure that I'm playing for because my pawns would be on dark squares with my remaining bishop on a white square. Guys, time for one more game after this. Rook h7. I mean, I may have to play rook h7 at some point to get him out of my face. Rook h7 followed by like knight f6, then he has e5. If I play e5 myself, if he has time to play e5, well, I can just take the pawn on c2. I don't think he can do that. So maybe I should just be... Do what, though? Just have to make a decision. I don't know. e5, bishop b5, bishop d7. That doesn't look good for me. Here, maybe. I'm going to lose a piece in some lines. Screw it. Let's play the forcing move. Back to c1. Now 97. If I was really a chicken, I could try to like force a trade of queens with like queen f6 there, but that would leave me in a slightly worse ending. So I don't really want a worse ending. I've never seriously considered playing for d5 here. I mean, if I wanted to do that, I would have done it in the first place. That's why I played d6. Now he's stopping me from playing my natural plan. Wow, queen f4. Tremendous move. Looks very problematic for me now. I have to do something crazy. Like queen f6, seriously. He's almost winning on time. He's up to 23.99 now. He's 2033 in bullet, 23.99 in blitz, 21.88. This ending is slightly better for white, but it's probably not that bad. Playable. Otherwise, I'm like paralyzed forever. But Santa Claus seems to be getting pretty tough. 23.99. Huh. If we just hang tough here, though, I think we'll be okay. Don't create any unnecessary weaknesses. I have one bad weakness on the H pawn. But I can play for... Okay, he's got structural weaknesses too, you know, so it's not so easy. Nimzo Indian style. Bishop a6 is kind of a weird move. He's preventing me from castling. I don't know what he's doing over there. Just like playing ultra fast. Now I have some threat here. Well, he took that way. I don't understand why his bullet is not higher. I just blundered. Seems like he's especially strong in bullet style time control, but he's only like 2,000 in bullet, which is kind of surprising. But I'm definitely winning now. Maybe not the best move by me. He could still defend with bishop d8. Okay, last game. Rakesh, 5+3. Yeah, but I'm lucky. I mean, he was slightly better in the ending. He started playing really fast without a plan, and then if he plays that ending really well, not getting his rook like entrenched on that weird square, and white should be slightly better. His first mistake was, you know, maybe playing bishop a6 or something like that. Now, I was supposed to play a weird opening. I kind of forgot here. Play something fun. The wing gambit on the other side of the board. I was just thinking about this, you know. It's a crazy, ridiculous idea. But it just popped in my mind last week. Bishop takes f7. g5. Oh, he is doing bishop takes f7. I don't think this is sound, but it's interesting. Now we have to calmly defend ourselves. The question is how. I'm not sure if this is my best move. Wasn't really the best. I'm going to end up losing material here. Hopefully not too much. Rakesh is really fast. This the moves are just coming fast. My king can hide on b8. Worst case scenario. Knight e6. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, he didn't play 96. I was serious about this move. That wasn't a joke, you know. All right. 96 was really critical. This looks like I should get some good counterplay. Now his queen is hanging. So I lose the exchange, but it's okay. That's the whole point. I don't lose a whole rook. I mean, that's the main point. I can afford to lose an exchange. I won a piece before, so. We've got 6 pawns against 7, and we're up 2 pieces for a rook. So it's pretty close. I like the minor pieces a little bit. He's threatening to really mess up my king here, so. Alright, knight d5 check. Maybe I have to deal with this in a different way with bishop e6. I was planning on b6, king b7, but he has the shot. Obviously a very tactically minded player. He would see this, like b6, knight b5 check, king b7, queen takes d6. Winning more material. Just plays this anyway. Well, now I have 2 good squares. I mean, b6 is king b6, a4, a6, a5 check, king takes b5. I mean, it's hard to believe that that's actually good for white. Just for fun, this is the last game. I could simply play king d7. That was my original plan. But I don't think he can sacrifice the piece here. I don't see how this possibly works for white. Just total speculation. We're just going to get away. We're going to come back. I'm threatening like knight takes a5, among other things. So it's just a desperate sacrifice without calculation. Guys, I'm going to be back tomorrow night with our subscriber stream, Thursday night. It'll be game analysis and blitz and classical chess. There's a nasty threat, queen a4 mate. As I said, like, he's very tactically minded. But there's more than one way out of this. Knight d4 looks like the sensible move, I guess. With a small threat. Attack and defense at the same time. So, main thing is that we get the king back to a safe position. But I don't question Rakesh's tactical ability. I mean, he's definitely playing for a mate, chasing my king across the board. He had knight e6, and I'm interested to see after the game. It almost looks like it wins by force, but I think I had some resources there. If knight e6 instead of knight f7. Okay, now we're just up like a ton of material, and my king is actually safe. Should we take more material? He'll probably play for mate in 1 with like queen a3, but we can walk away. Yeah, so he sees these mating threats, but it's not subtle enough. You know, any competent player should be able to defend against the very straightforward mating threats. He basically burned all his bridges behind him. But still, he had a reasonable position. He went berserk at one point. Yeah, sacrificing with knight b5. I mean, when I went when I went bishop e6, he has to chill out here and just try to find a way to play this position kind of strategically somehow, you know? I mean, he's not going to be able to checkmate me, and he just has to come to that like kind of realization that he's not going to be able to checkmate me. He just has to play strategically in this position. So it's over. He cannot checkmate. Maybe I'll just give back some material. But there's no rush. I like this. I've always got knight b5. Even just putting the king back on. Yeah, I like his style, but too much material. b4, playing for mate. So, no, like, nice try. I mean, this was funny. I was kind of speculating in the opening. This is obviously a joke. I was intending to play kind of wing gambit style, but I don't think this is really correct, because if we go, you know, h6 then g6, this is pretty strong for white. So probably I have to just be down a pawn and play like bishop g7. I was having fun with it though. Don't try this, it's not sound at all. But anyway, we got to an interesting position here with queen h5 check, king d7. Or I thought he had this move. But I miscalculated something. I thought queen e8, queen f5. But this is insane, like, his only threat is like knight f8 check, in a way. So I can I can literally play anything. Bishop h6 being like the best move. It's really funny. I guess I had looked at playing knight f6 here instead of queen e8 actually. Yeah, this is the stronger move, so this is the better refutation. Yeah. I was looking at this position and afraid that he had something here, but apparently there's just no threat. He just doesn't have a threat. Knight takes d8 check. I didn't see this. And his queen is trapped on f5. It's really messed up. So I'm winning. Trapping the queen. Well, I always forget that it's weird day against me. What do you mean, forget, Serbian Santa Claus? I played knight f6, I played e6 and knight c6 against you. That's not weird. That was like my new introductory weird opening for the day. I don't think you even realized how obscure that is. Like, I don't even play the French, you know, and this is not a French. This is like a totally bizarre variation. So, no, that was like my feature opening of the day, Serbian Santa Claus. You're totally disappointed, and you shouldn't be. Alright guys, we'll be back tomorrow night with a subscriber stream. Thanks for watching and playing. I have to admit, I didn't see this at all. I thought like white might have something here, and I was looking for active moves, you know, what I can do. I guess I saw king e8 though. You know, I probably would have played this, which is good enough. Alright guys, I'll see you tomorrow for the subscriber stream, 7 p.m. CET tomorrow night here. Bring some games to analyze. We'll play some more Blitz and Classical with the subscribers, or Blitz and Rapid. And thanks for watching. Hopefully Soltigo will be back tomorrow night. Also, please subscribe and like my videos. I upload all the streams on YouTube. Video chess training on YouTube. Thank you for the recent donation from one of our viewers to buy a new gaming mouse. And let's see what else we got. Yeah, and thanks for subscribing here on Twitch. If you guys want to, please make a donation on PayPal. We appreciate it, and we'll put it toward making the stream better. I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.